I came into the industry not with any of this knowledge, but I had the hunger to learn.
How do you prepare yourself before a 16 hours flight?
Ask lots of questions, get lots of information. If it doesn't make sense, get it from another source, validate it.
How does the fitness help you in the aviation?
Massively.
Do you take in consideration to go to Mars?
I would love to go into space. Even just to go to the outer atmosphere and see proper curvature and go weightlessness for a while. Very, very cool. But I'd like to go and experience it and try something else.
What's up, Iron investors? Welcome back to another epic episode, ICN.talks, the podcast where you already know we try to interview the OGs in the industry. Not only this, but real builders, people that don't pay that much attention to grow their following, but they are real builders in our industry. They build amazing products with great utility. One of them is Mark Marsh. Thank you very much, Mark, for coming for the first time to ICN.talks, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm super happy because you are one of the alpha guys that I met, and I'm super excited to discover your personality further. I don't know from where to start from because you are kind of Emirates pilot. Definitely a fitness guy, and I know you build a lot of great things on the blockchain industry as well with your tool, but we go in a very short with that. So let's start with the beginning. I want to know a little bit about your background and why did you choose to come to Dubai?
We chose to come to Dubai a couple of years ago. We actually physically moved here a year and a half ago. We were living in Australia at the time, and we saw massive limitations being in Australia, being down under, high taxation, limited people that we could really do business with in our close surrounds. So Dubai for us was a land of opportunity, very good incentives in the business space, good opportunities to come here with Emirates and fly for a legacy airline, and good ability to have an environment where we can really scale our tech platforms.
And that was like from all these things, you found that Dubai is the best next move, like literally the number one choice globally, right?
Yeah, correct. I've lived before in Hong Kong for 12 years, and that was for an aviation job when I was flying for Cathay Pacific Airways. Moved back to Australia for 5 years. When COVID was happening, I was flying for Qantas. I was doing some international flying. But overall, when we made an assessment, when we decided that we wanted to leave Australia, we looked at the Middle East, we looked at Dubai, taxation, lifestyle. Big one was safety and security, especially for the family, and the ability to network. So that was the big basis for those decisions. No-brainer.
How many years of as a pilot do you have?
I did an aviation degree, started in 98, finished in 2000, started flight training during that degree, flying straight after. My first airline job was 2007 when I moved to Hong Kong with Cathay Pacific. Been flying heavy jets ever since then all across the globe.
Or should I ask you how many hours or how many hours, right?
I've got about 11.
Rather than years.
Yeah, 11,500 flight hours.
I think you've seen a lot of things. Yeah?
I've seen everything. I've been to every continent except one, Antarctica.
Antarctica, okay.
I will get there one day.
Yeah.
On a boat. Yeah.
Okay, on a boat. So from air to the land, exploring different things.
That's it.
What's that one thing that you find the most fascinating thing in the flights?
Aviation is such a dynamic environment. What I find, especially when I first started, one of the most appealing things, which I didn't find out until I started the job, let me take a step back. I was always interested in airplanes. I was interested in aviation. When I was a kid, I used to build and fly remote control planes. When we would travel on airplanes, if we were going from point A to point P to point C, most people would want to get a connecting close connection. I didn't. I wanted to get to the airport and hang around for 2 or 3 hours just to walk around and look at the airplanes and take the atmosphere on, and then fly to the final destination. So it was always in me. For me, I didn't have anybody in aviation in my family. My dad wasn't a pilot. Nobody in the family was in aviation. So I didn't know or have the mentor to tell me how to do it. So at the end of high school, when I first went to university, I was a year younger than everybody else. I was only 17. I was immature. I was 17. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I studied something else first, finished that. Then I matured a little bit, went into aviation, did the aviation degree for the fascination with flying. Got into flying, eventually got into an airline at 2007. But what I really enjoy about that is going to work, starting work in one country, doing a very long flight, maybe 16 hours, fly to another country, get off the aeroplane, finish work in a different country, spend 1 or 2 days exploring that country, excellent, hop back on the aeroplane, fly home. That was work. Really cool way to see the globe.
Is there like a compound effect and compound passions, right? Like traveling with
traveling,
aviation.
food, gyms. Actually, you mentioned the gym earlier on.
Yeah.
A lot of the cabin crew and pilots, they like to go sightseeing, maybe go to some nice restaurants, have some drinks. The first thing I do when I land somewhere is I go onto Google, gym near me, research the best gyms in the area.
Best gym in Bali.
Gym in Bali, Paris, London, New York, because I see so much and training in these new environments, never train in a hotel gym, get out of the gym so it feels like you're not at work, you're on holidays almost. That's what I really enjoy.
Tell me the craziest situation that you've been through.
Craziest situation. Modern airliners now are extremely safe. Any accidents or incidents that really happen in aviation these days, it's when aviation first started, 1903, 17th of December, Wright brothers was the first flight. During that first initial period of aviation, airplanes crashed because the airplanes broke. They just weren't built well. As time progressed, technology in aviation and automation got quite good. And then eventually the problem was the human, and the human environment or the element in the equation would cause the accident. So fortunately, I've always flown for really good airlines, and our aircraft are well maintained and they're quite safe. So the worst thing that can really happen that I've really had bad experience with is severe turbulence. The worst that I've had is the worst thing you can have with turbulence is when it's unpredicted and the seatbelt sign's off. There was one occasion that we were heading from Los Angeles back to Hong Kong. It was in the middle of the day. The sun was up, clear skies, seatbelt sign was off. We're north of Hawaii. And occasionally there can be unforecast jet streams that you will just run into. And a jet stream is it's like a mass of air with a really fast speed, a minimum of 120 kilometers an hour, 60 knots. It's like a funnel of air. And if you fly into that and you don't know it's there and you don't have the seatbelt sign on, you can go from being in really, really smooth air to extreme turbulence really, really fast. This is the first time in my life that I had severe turbulence. The turbulence was so severe, I couldn't keep my feet on the ground. So sitting in the seat like we're sitting now in the cockpit, it all happened so fast. The airplane shook so hard that my feet were just coming up and smashing under the dashboard. Everything in front of me was just blurring and shaking. There was no possible chance to even go for the seatbelt sign. Not that it would have made any difference because we were already in the turbulence. And at that point, you're holding on for the ride. There is nothing that you can do. Went for probably 45 seconds. We exited the turbulence, called the cabin, found out what happened down the back. We had passengers with broken legs, some other issues. We needed to divert the airplane. We went back to Hawaii, landed, medical attention, and got them off. So events like that, which were outside the scope of the aircraft itself, and in that case, the pilot factor, they're the ones that you really kind of see in modern aviation today, and that are what I experienced. And there was a recent event as well, I think with Singapore Airlines, exactly the same event, in the cruise, unforecast jet stream, severe turbulence, and put a lot of people in hospital.
What do you feel exactly in those seconds when everything is happening in that level of craziness? Like you are not able to push any buttons, to press
There's nothing you can do.
Like
what was actually interesting is there is no fear. When it happens, you kind of just switch into your mode of flying the airplane. There was no element of concern, fear. I know that aircraft are extremely safe. I know that the airplane's not just going to break up in the air and fall out of the sky because of turbulence. I've seen testing videos from Boeing where they've actually got the aeroplane in certification. If these are the wings, they actually bend them almost up to about here on rigs just to check the elastic strength of these wings and make sure they don't fail within their fatigue limit. And when you fly, you can see these wings flapping around in turbulence. The plane's not going to break. But there's no fear, and it's literally, there's nothing you can do.
So you know that it's just a matter of seconds that
time
everything will be finished
back.
and that's it. You need to stay calm.
Yeah. The concern is you have these things that go through your brain really fast. You know that the seatbelt sign wasn't on. You know you've got people, especially in a big airplane, you've got 400 passengers.
Yeah.
Even though we say in our PA, if you're in your seat, keep your seatbelt loosely fastened, unlikely to, for this very reason. People still walk around, they go to the toilet, cabin crew are walking around, they're pushing trolleys, they're giving out food, water, all that stuff. You know there's going to be injuries, but there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And you won't know anything about it until you pass through, get on the phone and get an assessment of what's happening.
I want to ask you one thing. You guys, the pilots in general, when we fly, is like everything what we hear is like, good afternoon, the pilot, Mr. Anderson. The weather is... It's only something like that. Why is this happening all the time?
I think it's just their microphone placement, and they say it quite often, and maybe they're getting a little bit lazy with their technique. There's two ways that we can make it. We've got a physical telephone, which we can pick up. That's quite clear. But if we used our headset with just a very small little boom, and it's a little bit too close to the mouth or too far away, it sounds a bit muffled.
I mean, like, it's just fun. Like, whenever
No, we're not doing it on purpose. We're not doing it on purpose. Maybe they do sometimes.
Yeah.
Not me, but it's just, yeah.
I think, how many times you did it is just...
it's just, yeah.
monotony out there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What else in this area of flights? Like, where is your favorite place on planet Earth?
I haven't been there for a while, but my favorite place used to be going into New York. I used to love flying.
During winter?
Winter. I like the cold weather. Winter was good. The summers there are nice. Air traffic control going to New York is very direct and they're very straight to the point. I like that. Following clear instructions, rapid fire, getting down, especially after a 16-hour flight when you're getting tired and fatigued, it becomes now mental and just doing a really, really good job. Getting on the ground in New York, we stayed downtown in New York City, walking around, didn't matter if it was day or night, there was always things on, great gyms, great food, heaps of energy, great place.
You guys, you literally know from the second one up to the moment when the plane is successfully landed, right? You know all the details, right?
Yep. And what's really interesting is the information is so accurate that we can do, like I'm talking about these New York flights as an example. When I was flying from Hong Kong to New York, we'd have a flight time of maybe 16 hours and 23 minutes. It's to the minute. The meteorology forecasting with the winds was that accurate. You could fly to the other side of the world over more than 16 hours and land within a minute or two of what time they said you were going to land. Really cool.
Yeah, it's like literally so detailed, everything.
Yep. It's very accurate.
Couldn't be otherwise, right? Like at this level of...
no, especially, meteorology is very... How often do we see weather forecasts and they're like, it's going to rain, then it's sunny. But for the wind side of things and upper level jet streams and upper level wind strengths, it's very accurate. A lot of known data from past flights and forecast data, and they just mesh that in on the software, and we get a very, very accurate data.
How do you prepare yourself before a 16 hours flight? Like, what's the procedure behind?
Yeah, so lots of rest, especially going into the flight just before. So good rest,
like
hydration.
Minimum 8 hours.
Minimum. Yeah, minimum of 8 hours, solid continued rest. Lots of hydration because you're going to be up in a dry aircraft aluminium tube for a long time. Dry air, you're just going to be dehydrating. Good nutrition. And what I really like to do, I like to train, go to the gym. I either do my typical weight training will be weight training or CrossFit style. But before a flight, I like to do CrossFit conditioning, which gets the heart rate up, get blood pumping around the body. For me, that's a good reset function, especially for the brain. It's like a reset button and the body before I take myself to the flight and then load myself up.
How do you find in this mindset room, right? I'm going a little bit in the fitness
Yep.
journey. How does the fitness help you in the aviation?
Massively. Being cardiovascular fit, fit through general weight training, as a byproduct of those two, you generally eat better and your hydration is better as well as sleep. So when you take yourself into a non-natural environment, aeroplane at altitude, dry air, you're tired, you're fatigued, you're changing time zones, anything that you can do to help mitigate those issues is good for you. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're eating junk food, your insulin levels are spiking, you're drinking sugary drinks, insulin levels are spiking, you're going to be awake, you're going to be tired. It's counterintuitive to what you need to be doing at the other end.
So literally, if you have like a heavy dinner, or you go like, okay, let's eat this half chocolate cake, or all these things will have a massive
It's a massive effect.
Yeah?
And also what happens when we're flying on these long flights, quite often you'll be flying right through the middle of the night, early morning, from call it from midnight to 6 a.m. when you should be sleeping, you'll be physically flying. Mm-hmm. When you're tired, your body's trying all different kinds of ways to stay awake. One of the things that it likes to do is make you hungry. So you start craving calories because those calories, you're burning energy to stay awake. It's very easy at that point on the flight deck to call up and they'll bring up chocolates, chips, sugary foods, which your body's craving for the high calorific value. This now becomes a mental discipline game. It's a lot. You'll feel good for about a minute, then you'll feel terrible. So still eating the salads, the lean protein, which we've got on board the airplane, hydration, which is bottles of water. Then I'll take along on the flight with me salt tablets with electrolytes and put some aminos in there as well. Put them into my water because as we sweat, it's salty. We're losing body salt, which is a big component for hydration on the airplane. People drink lots of water but neglect the sodium element. So having some potassium or some salt tablets in there is really, really good. All those little things will help you get to the other end feeling the best possible way and then return and come home.
It's like you are paying attention to every single detail.
Everything.
Yeah?
Everything.
A beautiful journey behind when you can shape out your life in such a detailed way, right? Like everything is measured, everything is organized, you know exactly your body. This is like like a culture, right?
It's very disciplined and it's a culture. Exactly. And it's a culture that I've had from a very early age, whether it's been playing sport, working, studying, mainly in fitness. I'm very procedural and I like to follow habits and I like to play the mental game with things that I'm doing. I like it when I'm tired and fatigued, whether it's after a flight, whether it's when I land in a hotel and I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and then pushing my body to do something it doesn't want to do. It doesn't want to go to the gym at that time. I'd rather just lay in bed and watch Netflix. Nah, we're going to the gym. And that's a byproduct of time and consistency. That becomes easier when you've been doing it for such a long time. And they're habits that I've brought into my life from an early age that have continued, and they're habits which have come into different areas, whether it's fitness, flying, nutrition, but it's just now normal. It's very easy not to do that, but that's the easy way out.
In a back end, do you see this as a game between you and your mind? Like your mind being a lazy ass telling you, no, let's stay, let's order some pizza, drink Coke, watch Netflix.
It's definitely a mind game. It's definitely something that I think about a lot. Even now, when I've got all these years of experience, especially with fitness, when I'm tired, I love, what I really enjoy is getting off a long flight, going home, showering, straight away putting my gym clothes on, going to a CrossFit class, and then being fitter than somebody half my age in the class. I just got off a 16-hour flight. What's your excuse? Oh, that's right, you're not consistent, you don't train hard enough. That for me is good. It's the mental thing of being able to push myself through and looking at everybody else in the floor and go, why am I different? Well, I'm going to train harder.
Yeah. I mean, this one, pour connoisseur, but there is no a better feeling that having your insulin down, and see experience that hunger a little bit, right?
Yes.
And then you go and train harder.
Yes.
And after that workout,
You reward yourself.
like, I don't know, you feel that you can do whatever you want. You can. Your mind is just listen to you
that's
as
a very good
soldier.
point. You come off the flight or the next day, even when you're still really tired, the last thing you want to do is train. But you know from past experiences and habits that once you start, 10 or 15 minutes, you're going to feel okay. But after the workout, you're going to be on a high. The endorphins are going to be running. You've burnt calories. You built some muscle. And you're going to feel good for hours. If you just took the easy option, sat down, ate crappy food, went to sleep, you're going to wake up with a bit of sleep inertia. You'll probably feel worse than when you lay down in the first place. Completely different scenarios.
Mark, do you think this fitness game and being wealthy in general, because from my experience, what I've seen so far with all these people that are trying to be on shape, and currently they are not, right? The most important thing is time management. Is not the training itself, is not to prepare your workout, push-pull legs or the structure of your workout. It's just a matter of the time management.
Yes.
99% of the time when you ask people why you're not in the gym, I don't have time. If you solve this, and then we go even one room even more in backwards, right? Time management is coming back to discipline. Like, how do you organize your week in advance to be sure that you find the right spots to actually hit the gym, right?
Exactly.
What's your take on this time management?
Absolutely. I hear it all the time. I hear it with other pilots. I hear it with people that have quarter of the workload that I have. It's an easy thing to say. It's easy to be lazy and say, oh, I don't have time. If they actually calculated how much time they spent on their phones, scrolling through social media and doing other things, I'm sure they could find 30 or 45 minutes that they could recoup back into their day and apply it to some kind of fitness. What I also think is a problem there is it's an easy solution because a lot of people are intimidated by the gym. Some people don't want to do weights. Some people don't want to go and do cardio. And what I say to people that want to have a conversation about this is, it doesn't matter what you're interested in. You might want to go for a run, bike ride, lawn bowls, cricket, badminton, tennis. Just find what you like, what you resonate with, that you can be consistent with and do with time. Find whatever that is, and the caveat is, do a little bit of weights with that. Because through all the fitness and the journey that I've come through, one element that is consistent across all training platforms is, and my mum's 84 and I've got her doing it as well, pick up some weights and put your muscles under tension for time to do some damage to those muscle fibers so they'll repair, they'll grow bigger. Because when you have more toned muscles and you put a bit of size on, you've got to burn calories to keep that, which again keeps you leaner. And that will then complement whatever that sport was you're playing. Tennis, riding, it's going to strengthen your core, strengthen your back, all these other areas which will then, help that sport, which may have weaker areas that depending on what the platform is. So just find what you like, a couple of bit of weights in there, and it's easy to find the time because you're going to enjoy it.
Do you take in consideration to go to Mars?
Go to where, sorry?
To Mars.
Mars?
Yeah.
Would I go to Mars? Is that what you're asking? Or?
Yeah. I mean, you have this kind of thoughts, like go into space.
I would love to go into space. When I see like SpaceX and all of the new technologies and Virgin Galactic when they were trying it, I think it would be really cool. Even just to go to the outer atmosphere and see proper curvature and go weightlessness for a while. Very, very cool. I don't think I'd want to go to Mars for like 3 years or something like that. But I'd like to go and experience it and try something else and push the envelope.
With Mars, I know, I read some articles and it's a matter of Mars going somewhere in the space for 3 years and then comes back closest to the Earth. And then if you want to go to Mars, actually you have to spend at least 3 years once
until it comes back again. That's why I said the 3. Yeah. Long periods of time. Yes.
It's not like you can go and come back in a
no. There's no return journey.
Yeah. How do you think that will be in for your life experience to face this kind of things, when actually I want to see Mark, right? Think about this moment when you just came back from Mars and you're sitting on your sofa watching Netflix, whatever, and you go like, I'm coming from
Another planet. What an experience.
yeah, like
I did it. I went there. We succeeded. We achieved these objectives. We came back with this knowledge, and it's a story for the grandkids. That'd be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool stuff indeed. Like going to space is something, I mean, okay, you can fly, go to Bali, go to New York, do things, but I think space is totally something else, totally different.
What I'm really interested to see supersonic commercial air travel again. Well, like we had Concorde. I unfortunately never had the opportunity to fly on a Concorde as a passenger, but I've seen heaps of videos of it. There's a company in America called Boom Sonic, which is testing aircraft at the moment, which are very physically similar in appearance to the Concorde, similar in size, which will do high altitude flight at more than 2 times the speed of sound for commercial transport again. I think that's going to be really cool as well.
So like going to New York in 4 or 5 hours. Maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then turn around and come back. You can do that in
awesome.
one day. That's only a few years away again before that technology comes back for supersonic commercial flight.
But how it will be the impact on our bodies when you put yourself, I mean, your body in such experiences?
Yeah, well, the speed won't be an effect on the body.
No,
because it's all relative to the environment that you're sitting in. If we're sitting at this table like this in a pressurized tube and we're going 10 times the speed of the sound, we're just in our own environment.
You're sitting in that tub anyway.
Pressurized environment. It's actually probably more beneficial for you because you're on the airplane for less time to get exposed to that high altitude, radiation, dry air. So your time is shorter. You'll land there. You'll be there sooner. And then you've got more time to start adapting onto the time zone adjustment.
Yeah, awesome. How did you land in the blockchain industry? Because I want to go in this part. And
yes.
You see, guys, in how many angles we go with Mark, because I told you at the beginning, he's an entire alpha guy doing a lot of great things. A real iron investor.
I like meeting interesting, smart people. I like talking about really cool ideas and concepts which are out there. As we've just spoken about, the majority of my background is in being in aviation. Pilots are very similar. We all, especially when you get to the larger airlines, you get a psychological profile. To pass the test to get in, we have to be similar. So we're all quite similar. So I find it quite interesting to talk to people that aren't similar in that different space. My wife, Lisa, and I, about 5 years ago, we ventured initially into a VC space where we started investing in some tech startups. We were looking at interesting companies that we thought were really cool. We liked their business idea. We liked who the founders were. We liked their revenue models, and we liked what was potentially going in the Web3 crypto space. For me, especially back then, my wife was a little bit more up to speed at that point than I was, but it just made sense. There was some really cool stuff happening on the blockchain. And when we started investing, our network just started creating. We started meeting new people, getting introduced to different communities. Lisa and I actually came up with our first project was we came up with our own business idea, which we pitched as a VC firm. The very first firm that we pitched it to gave us funding for $250,000. And that project was, it was a live streaming platform to use as a fitness platform for fitness trainers across the world. We identified that a lot of fitness trainers that were providing nutrition or exercise had large social media accounts, Instagram, but they could only really monetize off their account. And I came up with the idea, well, what if we provided a platform similar to YouTube where they could all interact together, put their content on there, their clients from any member would pay one fee, get access to everybody's content on the one platform, and we could live stream from different places around the globe at random times, depending on the time zones. We might have live streaming out of New York, LA, Japan, Hong Kong, India, UAE, London, and then go around the clock. So there's always be live streaming from different players that were on the platform. But the smarts behind it was marketing. The marketing was all done by the social media influencers in the fitness space, because they would just talk to their communities that they already have on board them. So that was our first model. So we got VC funding for that.
It had to be something with
Fitness
related to some of your passions, right?
Exactly. Something that we knew. And then I identified, well, maybe this could work. So we got the funding. We did an MVP product on it. We onboarded about 200 fitness trainers from across the globe.
Nice.
And then we hit some hurdles. We hit some hurdles with scalability and actually getting the members onto the platform from the traditional account. We tested it. It was too hard to scale. Then we walked away from that one. But that was our first taste of it. After that, we decided, okay, there's got to be an easier way. Rather than being the one trying to get the VC funding, let's become the VC and maybe we'll get a broader scope. And that's how we found the first 5 companies that we invested in. All that interest kind of was fueling and growing. And then when the Dubai option came up 2 years ago, we looked at moving back overseas, and we moved here a year and a half ago. We knew that this was a hub, and for that space, it was a really cool place. And that's how we came on board, and we found out about AR Wealth Pro. Not long after we got here, we're at an event at the DMCC, a communal event. Somebody got up and spoke about it, one of the founders. It was very in its infancy. He said some things that resonated with me. We exchanged details. We went off site and we did some due diligence, and the birth of this product started.
Shout out to Dubai ecosystem.
Shout out to Dubai. It just happened. Right place, right networking, right product. But that whole series of events, right back from our fitness platform, got us to where we are today.
Tell me more about the software that you are building right now. It's a SaaS model, right?
Yeah, it's a
in the back end.
It's an artificial intelligence futures trading platform. The CTO has a PhD in finance. He's a mathematician. He was a futures trader for the last 10 years. In 2017, when AI and machine learning was really starting to get a lot of notice, he decided to use artificial intelligence with machine learning to learn off his trades. So he set it up to run in parallel off his manual trading. And with time, he slowly removed himself from the equation, and it had learnt enough, and now it does fully automated trading off his strategies that he first implemented. It trades on exchanges. It's proper futures trading in USDT. Points of difference that I liked about this company was we have servers in Germany, physical servers in Germany. And when we first set the servers up, they could handle about 40 million US per month in trading volume. A month ago, we broke through that. We're at 60, so we've upgraded now to 100 million. We're about 65, 70 million trading volume a month. The reason we spent all this money on these servers, and it cost a lot of money to run it, is speed. We can now enter trades really fast and exit trades fast, almost at the exchange speed itself, almost. If we were to deploy the technology on a cloud-based server, it's a little bit slower, there's latency, we might miss signals, and there's a chance that when we go into hedging mechanisms, we might miss a position and potentially liquidate our position if it goes too far.
Yes. I want to ask you something, because I want people to understand how this kind of things are built. I'm not very technical, but let's say I've seen some stuff in the space. There is one thing at the product level, like what the product does, right? This in future trading, but it's a matter of how fast is this communication in a backend, right? Because playing with futures, if the price just goes insanely up, right? It's, for example, your software, is it able, in how long is it able to put the stop loss or send actually the order?
Yep. So
because these things are happening in
super fast.
Yeah, microseconds, right?
Yep. And before we get too much into that, our product doesn't use a stop loss, and the reason is this: futures trading historically was manually done by a human on like an FX or a typical market. Those markets were generally open 8 hours a day, 9 a.m., 3 or 4 p.m. So it's a very limited time frame. Holding costs for positions could be quite high. In those traditional markets, call it an FX market, if you were to go future position on a long position and the market was to go short, they would generally, in that type of environment, trend in that direction. The volatility wasn't as much as is in a crypto market. So you would need to have a stop loss because the market's closed for a lot of period of the day, so you miss out on opportunities to trade yourself out of it. And then you got to hold on to it and the holding costs go up. And because of that trajectory issue I just spoke about, you'd have to have a stop loss. So you'll run potentially some losses from month to month. By operating our technology in a crypto market, it's 24 hours a day, 7-day a week operation, 365 days. So it's always opportunity to trade. There's no downtime. So the time for holding costs is a lot less. Because we're dealing with crypto is more volatile than traditional markets. So they're always going to, our data has shown for the last year and a half of every single account we've had, we've never taken a loss in any position because we know with time it's going to reverse back around and our trade size percentages are so small that we'll always capture it. The AI is fast. We have those ground-based servers, so it can enter and exit the positions really, really fast. It doesn't get tired. It can look at multiple things at once, apply multiple strategies. There's no emotions. Doesn't matter if it's trading with $1 or $1 million, its logic's going to be the same. And when you actually watch it in action, it's really, really interesting to watch. Example, it might enter a long position on Bitcoin with 30% of the account balance. Bitcoin might go 30% up. As it goes up, it'll just take a profit. That was the easiest trade ever. No problem. It might go into a long position, but the trade might reverse and go into a short position. As soon as it crosses down into the negative position, the speed will just open up a hedge, 30% back in the other way, potentially counteracting the first hedge. And then if it goes down to the 30%, it just cancels itself out. You pay the small amount of fee for the holding fee. And when I look at my Binance data on a account and I go back a maximum of 3 months, which is what you can do on Binance, I see all these green candles, these little red blips for $11 or $15 when it hedges out. Because we've got that ground-based server, we're mitigating any threats of timing issues and missing the exit points, as opposed to a cloud-based exchange where we'd get some slippage and some latency.
And anyway, those tiny battles don't matter when you look at the time frame. For example, 6 months or over a year.
Yep.
It's already profitable.
Yes.
It doesn't matter one red candle day or whatever.
Exactly right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, this one has to be the purpose, right? Over a year or over a longer period of time to be profitable.
Exactly.
If this happens, we are all good.
Yes.
How easy was for you to come in this industry and to understand all these technical details? Like, where did you get this knowledge from?
I came into the industry not with any of this knowledge, but I had the hunger to learn. And like anything that I do, I like to put myself there and put smart people around me. Ask lots of questions, get lots of information. If it doesn't make sense, get it from another source, validate it, I like to break things down into a very practical sense. Lisa, my wife, and we differ on this a little bit. I'm always very practical in my approach to things. Does it make sense?
It's obvious by now.
Is it scalable? Then I can work the rest out. Yeah. I come up with a concept and an idea and I'll work the rest out. I'll get other smart people around me to show me how to do the other things. So it's been literally learning on the job by talking to people, seeing it in action, and then applying that knowledge to the next project.
Do you think it's a matter of you knowing your brain so well that you can just take it and put it in different environments, but actually put it into the same work, right? Like aviation is super detailed and like precise and, like all this kind of super organized details, right? And then you go blockchain, which again is the same thing, is different, but in a very back end, it is the same thing. Your brain has to think in a very 101, right?
Yep. I'm definitely.
That's why it was easier, or is just a matter of?
No, it's you. I think you're definitely right there. I'm definitely not. I'm no genius. I'm just an average person. But I think the difference is I'm very disciplined in the approach when I apply myself to something. When I understand it practically, it's easier then to reverse engineer and get the details. That's probably the best way to say it. As soon as I understand the concept and or come up with a concept, then I work backwards to fill in the details. When you know what you're trying to achieve, it's much easier to understand the details because the outcome's already been verified and you're working towards that.
At the personal level, when we met for the first time, when Lisa
Yes.
came up and said, "Okay, let's meet together," and I can say now that I'm fascinating about your entire journey, everything what you built from aviation to blockchain to fitness, all these aspects. And I want to go a little bit farther, like far, far away, to access your perfect picture. What's your perfect picture? Where is it the happy end for Mark? And who is Mark there?
The happy end is I will never not do anything. I will never, when I'm 80 years old, I want to be involved in projects. They'll be the projects that I choose to be interested in and the ones that interest me with the people that excite me and I can get more knowledge from. The perfect outcome is having the right community of people around me to guide me on the right direction so we can choose the projects we want to be working on. We're constantly getting better with what we do, better humans and how I relate with other people, how I work with people now, whether it's colleagues, friends, or even family, is very different to how I did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. There's life experience, those relationships and how Lisa always likes to refer to me, I'm just very calm. And I can just, when people are talking to me, I like to, and I think that's a bit of experience, understand where they're coming from and build a relationship. I want to build better relationships. And I want to be working on projects. I want to be stimulated, but I still want to be going to the gym. I want to be in the gym pushing weights when I'm 80. And my fitness journey right now is every year, the only goal I have for fitness is one thing. Year on year, the next year I have to be fitter and stronger than the preceding year. That's my only requirement. And that's only coming down to training and discipline.
Yeah, so far it looks like you're
so
doing
far
a great job. Yes.
So far is good.
Yes. And then, okay, do you think when I talk about this perfect picture with people, most of them, they have no idea. Like they didn't position themselves at that level. Like who is going to be Mark, for example, in 20 years, or at least at the imagination level, right? Because everything starts from in our mind. Like you need to think about it first.
I can answer this for you. The reason I can come up with this solution, because I have the fear of what I don't want to be. That fear drives what I want to be. When I get to that older part of life, late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I don't want to be the person that has no hobbies, doesn't have anything to challenge them, doesn't go to the gym, doesn't remain fit, doesn't look after their nutrition and their health. That scares me because I look at some people in the population and that when that happens, and I will do anything I can in my power not to happen. And by having that fear fuels what I need to do to avoid that from happening. So it's easy to answer that question.
You wake up without alarm.
Without alarm, exactly. That cannot happen.
Yeah. You're strongly position yourself into avoiding that level. And then you take micro steps every single day in order not to go there.
Yep. Don't stop going to the gym. Don't stop eating proper nutrition. Don't stop lifting heavy weights. Don't stop getting the heart rate up. Don't stop meeting interesting people. Investing in new products.
Would you start a business with friends or with someone that you see it as an expert in
would you ask me that question,
fields?
what I know now or what I know 10, 15 years ago?
Today. Like today.
No.
Do you think building businesses with friends, it's harder or easier?
Harder.
Why is that?
It's harder because it's more emotional. You've got that friendship level from prior attachments. I like with business being clean, clinical, professional, having the right people around you. Not saying that friends can't be that person, but when you can choose the pieces to the puzzle to fit your puzzle, you have a wider scope of people to bring in. Experts in the area, like the CTO that we've got now for AI Wealth Pro. I've never been able to ask this guy a question that he can't answer. And he goes above and beyond and answering the question and gives me an answer that is so profound that I'm like, oh man, this guy's good. That's the type of person that I want to be around. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. There's nothing to learn. You never want to be the fittest in the gym.
But shouldn't it be easier? Like, imagine you and I, right, being friends for last 30 years. Literally, we can accept almost everything, right? Any questions, any tough questions, anything, right? Because we can manage that. We can afford. We are super friends, right? Why in business, when we put 100K between us, it goes like nuts, like everyone is a different person.
Exactly.
Why is that?
I'm not sure. I think it's just that human element. And Lisa, my wife, I've referenced her a few times. She always says to me, everyone has their price. Doesn't matter how good or how trustworthy. Everybody eventually, whether it's $1, $100, $1 million, $100 million, there will be a price. And that's the human element. So I think...
So you are a good person from $1,000 to $20,000. Then when you reach $20,000, you became a different person.
It depends on the person.
I mean,
everyone's got their value.
At that level, right?
Yep.
Other one is a good person up to 100K, and so on.
And if somebody offers them $100 million to do something bad, they will start to think about it.
It's a matter of levels.
Everyone's got a different level.
So it's a matter of you being able to read that person and understand the level. But how can you scan that? Day one, you just met me.
Okay.
How can you know that my level is 100K or 100 million?
Well, you can't. So that's the difference between going into business with a friend or a professional. And the best that you can do, and I've got something else that I like to use, is when you go through the due diligence, you do your DD on that person, you ask lots of questions, you get referrals, you check out all the data, you get a pretty good snapshot straight away on how that person is. I kind of know, this is bad, but I kind of know within 30 seconds of meeting somebody if it's going to work or not. That gut feeling and the power of that feeling is strong. And
how much weight do you put behind that?
Significant.
Really?
I put a significant weight behind it. I won't say I go for confirmation bias when I do the due diligence, but it really does. The feeling that I get from that first assessment does steer a lot of that weight. But you do your due diligence. If the feeling is good and there's a few flags, you just push a little bit further to get more information. If it's a bad feeling from the beginning, as soon as the DD starts to not work, it's very easy to walk away.
Even the opportunity is big or like the product looks excellent.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's not worth it. It's going to come and bite you.
This is the most common answer I take from almost like 99% of investors who come here at this table. They told me the same thing. The biggest opportunity ever, the product is amazing. I don't resonate with the founder. I'm not going.
Generally, when I have an intro call for the very first time with somebody, whether it's onboarding as a high net wealth client to the platform or just somebody in general, I always start my conversations with, tell me about yourself. Mm-hmm. What do you do? What are you interested? Completely irrelevant to what we're talking. I want to know who they are, what their beliefs are. And from there, I can get an idea of their values, and then we can talk about the business.
But I can play that, right? I can't in a very back end, or I mean like in the same time you are reading me, I'm reading you. Yeah. And from your questions, I understand that you are scanning me and where you are going with, right, with this conversation, and I'll give you what do you want to hear.
Yep. So this is true.
Yeah, my passion is to build. I want to have impact.
No.
Blah, blah, blah.
No, not even on that level. Yeah. Tell me about yourself. What are you interested in? You can get a good understanding. You can also tell whether they're just playing the line or it's a genuine response, but it gives you a good understanding coupled with that gut feeling. It's a very good starting point. And then you can engineer the conversation from there where you want it to go. If you need to dig a bit deeper on something, or that was good. But if it's straight away, you're like, oh, there's something not right here. It's a pretty strong sense. You know where to go from there.
From my experience, it's a matter of I don't pay attention to what you are saying, but how you are saying. Because obviously what I'm saying I can control. But how I'm saying it, it's a next level, right? In a back end room.
Yep.
And that gives me the perspective, because you can say, yes, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, but the way how you pronounce things, the vibe of your words don't match the dimension of your...
What your eyes are seeing is different to what your ears are hearing.
And from there you got maybe this gut feelings that, okay, the words level are good, but something is not there, because you don't speak from your heart. It is...
As soon as a red flag goes up, I've got a 2 red flag system. 1 red flag, when it goes up, something's not quite right, red flag goes up. Need to watch it. As soon as I get 2 red flags on any project within a short period of time, I stop, I step away, reassess the situation, check all the information, make the new decisions. It's an aviation thing. When you have a situation or a problem, you step away, you get all your resources of information, whether it's your systems, air traffic controller, other pilots, other people, get all the new information, look at it, make a decision, check with the other person, do you agree with what I'm thinking, and then reevaluate. Implement a process. If it doesn't work, take a step back, come up with a new process. So that's that system. It's exactly the same in the business world.
How many points you go, like how many steps, how many confirmations you want to take? Like I'm saying something and then you go like, okay, I need to verify this once, twice. Like
you can tell. I don't have an exact number, but my 2 red flag system is generally when I'll start to go a little bit deeper. And then once you start getting quite detailed, you either have to pause it or there's something wrong and you need to reevaluate from another angle.
I want to touch, we don't have too much time, but I want to see your brain in this area with artificial intelligence and with all these implications that will come, right?
Yes.
How do you see things here, like at the society level? Robotics, for example.
So there's going to be massive changes.
I know it's a broad question, but I just want to see your...
it's hard because we're thinking like humans in today's world. The rate that technology is increasing in this space is exponential. Our jobs that exist now and how they're going to be actioned are going to be completely different. AI, especially now it's online, it's super powerful and it's super scary when you think about what it can do. There was a study that I saw in the US. I don't recall what it exactly was, but it was a scientist that was using AI to try and formulate drugs to fight disease. Now, you may have heard of this one. And he had an idea, what if I reversed the code and I used AI to formulate drugs to wipe out a population? And something like within 2 minutes, it formulated 5 formulas that was crazy more stronger than arsenic. And he's like, then he realized how dangerous this thing was. He went across and to the US government. He was in the US, said, hey, these are the results. This is what AI can do. And the first question they said to him, what kind of computer did you run this on? Like expecting some kind of supercomputer. He did it on a laptop. And it was that point that the project just got completely shut down. Being online, massive problems if it's in the wrong hands. Yeah, it's a scary space. Obviously, when we use it for good, it's good. But being online in today's world, I don't know.
We will be here to find out, to see exactly what's going on, play the game. And I think the most important thing is how fast can we adapt to what's going to happen.
How fast we can turn it off.
Yes. But in the same time, it will be a lot of fun because different things are coming in a different way. And these new things, a new way of environments. So, for example, this podcast, we can be just some avatars who have been created in this way. I've been feeding this avatar for the last 10 years to do whatever I want in the space, multiply myself in have like 20 meetings in the same time, right?
Yeah.
And not only just being present, but have a valuable input, building companies. I mean, when I go in this area, I can't sleep, I'm super excited
Your thought process is just
to see what's going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. It's definitely an interesting space. It definitely will be in our lifetime. I constantly think about our kids' lifetime, what their lifetime will be like after I've left, because it will be such a different space.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, we need to wrap it up for today. I'm super grateful you came. I want to pick up your brain in so many things, but we'll keep it open for part 2.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
I want to see you building great things in the industry. I know you can, and I will be happy to train together one time.
We'll hit some heavy weights.
Yes, we need to do it. Both of us.
You name it. You tell me when and where, and I'll be there.
Thank you so much for coming to ICN Talks, and where they can find you, where they can find more information about the tool.
Oh, the platform?
Yes.
Website's aiwealthpro.ai. We're on Instagram, same it's AI Wealth Pro. Just drop us a message. There's a link there where you can book an introductory call. We'll tell you all about it.
Yes, you can find, guys, all the details in the caption description right in the video. Thank you again for coming, and see you on the next one.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks, you guys, for watching, and appreciate your time. Drop us a fire comment. How did you like it? And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Show us some love. And you can find us on all major platforms as Iron Capital News. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one. Thank you.